Hey, we just jumped on kind of hot. We got special guest coming on here in a little bit, Coach Rickey Gilley from shockingly, Phil, what an effort they have made. South Pittsburg Pirates are back in the state title game, and that is a huge, uh, I guess statewide was a huge shock. The Pirates, with only four seniors, are now poised to go back to back.
Yeah, because after the year they had last year and the seniors they lost, it was just amazing. I mean, you knew they would still have a good football team this year, and they won several football games. But come playoff time, this team hit their stride. I guess the young guys grew up, so to speak. But there's one thing about a program like that: they have watched, stood on the sideline, and seen what it takes, and the coaches have been through it, and they know what it takes. So eventually the light comes on, and evidently it came on at the right time for this football team.
15th state finals appearance. That's unreal.
Oh, yeah.
The state final hadn't been around since the 70s. The fact they're already in their 15th. I'd say Alcoa, who's won 17 championships, leads the state, but I think South Pittsburg would probably be second with 15 appearances.
Yeah, I can remember probably the first time they got to the finals. I think they lost. It was probably 78 or 79, somewhere in there. But I remember watching it on TV. It was, I guess they were playing in Nashville then. But I remember watching the game on TV. They got beat, but that's the first time I really saw South Pittsburg. And so, the tradition continues.
That's strange. And we used to play that final, and I'll go through the whole Tennessee, and you'll grab Alabama before Coach Gilley gets on. But used to play at Finely Staduim, artificial turf. First time I went to a game was 1982. Ray County and Overton in the state finals. Snow, rain on the old artificial turf. Guys to this day talk about how it was like playing on a snowy carpet,
Yeah, because hey, I've been there. There was one year, I can't remember what year it was. I went probably 85 or 86. Dixon County was there. Donaldson Christian Academy was there. Alcoa played Brentwood. Brentwood beat them that year. And yes, it was freezing cold in Nashville. And in that field, good and well, is frozen and rough. It's probably like playing on cement.
Oh, sorry. I had my alarm set for Coach Gilley, and it just cut me off temporarily. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Bill, let's just get through the schedule real fast.
Okay.
Thursday, of course, the private school night. Nothing local except for one game, and it is the game of the year every year. Now this is the second year they've met Thursday night, 7 o'clock in the finals. Of course, you got Nashville Christian in there. And in single A, in the Division II single A, it's BGA versus GPA. But Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Baylor and McCallie for the state title. That's as big as it gets in high school football.
Well, that stadium was full last year, and what a time for these two to hit elite status and play each other last year and this year. That's good for both programs, but it's also good for Chattanooga in that they draw so well in the championship finals. And, that's just amazing to have those two play each other 2 consecutive years, because if Chattanooga bids on this again, that looks good on paper.
Absolutely. Now, Thursday, that's Thursday. On Friday, we get the 3A, the 1A, and the 5A. So they start at 3, then at 5, and then 7. So at 3 is the 3A, Alcoa Westview. Alcoa's last year in 3A, and I can tell you, last week's victory over Sequatchie County was about as impressive as anybody has ever done in the state. 38-3 at halftime, 38-3 to finish, or 31-3 at halftime, 38-3 to finish. Alcoa is a machine that nobody can handle.
No, and it's probably going to be the same as they move up. You know, we've kind of got a school down here like that. Of course, they haven't been around as long as Alcoa, Montgomery Catholic. They continue every time they move up. They're just as good. But Alcoa is just good year in and year out. But take nothing away from Sequatchie County. What a great year they had.
Yeah, I got that alarm on field, so now maybe I won't get bounced every 1 minute saying Coach Gilley's coming on. That is so true. And last year in 3A, going to 4A, a lot of people feel that it's about time, Phil. I'm not sure last year Alcoa couldn't have won. I don't think they had won 6A, but I think they could have won 1 through 5. So that shows you how dominating Alcoa was. 6A and the Division II large school is the only two classes in Tennessee that Alcoa couldn't win. South Pittsburg, heck of a challenge. They play Mase, which is the Memphis School of something in engineering. Excuse me.
Is it maybe science and engineering?
Science and engineering.
Yeah.
Memphis Academy of Science and Engineering.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of the school until this year, but this year they've been dominant. They're from Memphis, and the only loss they have is from Lucent Academy, a 3A, a very good 3A Division II school. It's going to be a big challenge for the Pirates to meet Mase, and we'll get that from Coach here in a minute.
Yeah, definitely so. But, you know, South Pittsburg got back to the finals once again. They know how to win in these types of games. If there's one advantage they do have, Mase has never been here before. So that could be an advantage for the South Pittsburg Pirates, especially if South Pittsburg can get ahead early and keep the pressure on Mase. Now, probably South Pittsburg is going to have a hard time if they get behind early, but I think if they can get the lead and make Mase play tight, they got a shot.
To wrap up the night in 5A, in Tennessee, maybe not the most dominant category. You have a lot of what I call county schools, Ray County, Sevier County. But what you end up with is one of those county schools versus one of the Nashville schools, which is not a county school. So you end up with Sevier County, who had a great game with Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge came within a hair of making the finals against Page, and Page returns after losing last year. It's got to be a big lesson for Page, who lost last year, to come back this year.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Probably learned a lot, and they've probably been on a mission. But, give Sevier County credit. Of course, it's Sevier County High School, but it's right in Sevierville. It's not like they're out in the woods anywhere. But, this team's had a pretty good run in the past. Seems like they're one of those schools, they'll go away for a little while, and then all of a sudden they'll build up and have a 3 or 4 year stretch run where they're really, really good. And it wasn't too long ago they played for a state championship. So, this is not new territory for that program.
100%, Phil. I agree with you. I'm trying to get my 6A matchup honed in here, and I can't. I know it's Oakland, and I know I wrote down it's something I can't read. But while I'm talking about the other matchups, I'll run over there and make sure. In 4A, you have Melrose versus Macon County. Really no local schools, but Melrose is a power.
Yeah, that you hear about them all the time. They're one of them statewide known schools. So, that's two schools we're not really familiar with. It's just nice to have the local schools in the other areas, because it's kind of like in Alabama, there's a lot of schools that are way far off we don't know a whole lot about.
That's true. And it's like these two schools I probably know less about than anybody. But I'm going to be there that night because I'm going to go down to see this next game. Marion County, traditional superpower, that's kind of been down for a few years, now make the run back against another school with a great history. It's Marion County versus Milan in 2A. And that's like pulling 2A royalty together to play in that game.
Yeah, give Marion County credit, that I think they fell a little short last year of what they thought they were going to be able to do. But, I guess it's one of those things where they went back to the drawing board and it was going to be state championship or bust. And this team's done everything that they are supposed to do to get back to this point. So, it's been a great run for them. And, and credit the Marion County area. You got South Pittsburg and Marion County right on top, and you can spit on each other. And here they've got two teams in the state finals. I know it's different classifications, but that says a lot about Marion County football.
I'll take it one step farther, Phil. I was going to address this Sequatchie Valley football. Marion in the finals, South Pittsburg in the finals. Whitwell went to the third round. They're in Marion County. So every team in that county went at least to the third round. Of course, Sequatchie County semifinalist, Bledsoe County third round. That may be as close as the state of Tennessee has to Sand Mountain football, where you have Fife and Geraldine and Sylvania. And so you get it right there in, that valley. Marion County is 27,000. I'd say Bledsoe right around 6 is the smallest. Not large counties, but great football.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think that area had the kind of run that Sand Mountain did last year, where you had Geraldine and Sylvania and Fife and all go deep, and Pisgah all go deep into the playoffs. And, this is just a banner year, and you probably won't see this ever again.
In 6A, I got my matchup right. Oakland versus Houston. Of course, Oakland, that Murfreesboro area for years has been the power in large class football. Houston, another matchup I don't know a whole lot about, except I know Oakland's a real good football team with a Tennessee signee at tailback. It's going to be real interesting to go see them. I think I'm going to hang around to watch them after Marion County.
Yeah, that'll be a great one to watch, I'm sure. That's one of them that may end up being the highlight game of the whole playoffs, because Oakland, year in and year out, a very, very good football program. You got to be pretty good to put them out of the playoffs any year. I mean, they're not a team that wins a state championship year in and year out, but they're a team that's always competitive.
Last year we had, I think, 4 or 5 finalists. This year we have 4 in 3 classification, and 2 of them play each other. So if we could get 2 state titles for the Chattanooga area, that'd be a great day. Let's jump down to Alabama real fast while we're waiting on Coach Gilley.
Okay, well, so we can start out. Well, down here, I didn't write down the scores, but, we've got flag football, down in Alabama, and they're playing the flag football state championships on Wednesday before the 7A finals. It's on Wednesday afternoon. It's separated in Class 1A through 5A, and then 6A and 7A. So one of the schools is Montgomery Catholic. I think they're in the 5A. Central Phoenix City, I think, is the 7A team that's in the finals, but they play first. And then, of course, the first 7A game will be Wednesday night at 7 p.m., and it will be Central of Phoenix City versus Thompson. Now, these are 2 powerhouse schools, and Randy, these 2 have played for the state championship 5 of the last 7 years. So it's amazing how good these 2 programs are.
I think about Thompson's quarterback now is a sophomore. And
I think he started as a freshman. Yeah.
Turned down $1 million NIL deal to leave the state of Alabama to play at one of the private schools already, and did it and said he didn't want to leave his teammates. So 3 years from now, you got to think that kid's going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the nation.
Yeah, because, really and truly, I know that NIL deal seems good, but he's going to make a name for himself where he's at. He don't have to go anywhere. You could understand him leaving, a school that traditionally is not strong, but Thompson puts some great players in college year after year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, this Thursday, because down here we just go the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 7A is on Thursday because they didn't play last week. Their semifinals was 2 weeks ago. So they have about 10 days off, and then they can kick it off. But then on Thursday at 11 a.m., we're going to have Houston Academy taking on Mars Hill. Of course, Mars Hill beat Piedmont last week, 49-20. Very impressive win for Mars Hill. It's just one of those nights where everything went their way. Nothing went Piedmont's way. Piedmont had that big win over Fife, but they were just no match for Mars Hill. Mars Hill did a great job defensively, taking away the perimeter for Piedmont, and Piedmont just didn't have enough of a running game, and that's all Mars Hill did. But Mars Hill's got a great football program. They won a 2A state championship, and now they're after a 3A state championship.
Hey, Phil, let's bring Coach Gilley in, and we'll go back to Alabama.
Okay.
Coach, like he's out in the cold. I don't want him to wait too long.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, Coach Gilley.
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
I hope you ain't out in the cold talking to us. I'm hoping that's your car.
I'm headed home. We got done with practice a little while ago, and we sitting around talking about a few things, and then realized it was getting time pretty close to time to meet with you guys. So I was going to head on home and enjoy our conversation.
Okay, well, you're in good shape. We're just wrapping up. We'll go back to for those that's listening. We got through the Thursday in Alabama, and we finished up Tennessee. So we'll pick up on Thursday, Phil. Once we get Coach Gilley, we'll have him for about 30 minutes and get him gone. But Coach Gilley, let's talk about it. Back-to-back state finals for the Pirates, and Phil and I said it, and I'll turn it over to Phil after this question. I think this year, 4 seniors on this team, 2-2 at one point. Phil said it just came together at some point.
Yeah, well, I'd be lying, and I think all the rest of our coaching staff. I mean, if you would have asked us back at end of summer, it was going to be we felt like with just the youth and everybody that we lost last year, just such a special group from last year. That we just, we wasn't, you got certain games on your schedule that you kind of figure, you could probably get those wins, but there was 3 or 4 games on the schedule that, we wasn't real sure that we could be overly competitive in, much less win. But it just, after that first game, what you got to remember too, that people may not understand is, that first game at Oliver Springs, they had everybody but like 2 kids coming back off the semifinal game that we beat them last year to get us in the state title game. And they had about everybody but 2 or 3 kids coming back. Well, we lost all that group. And so we knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but they just punched us in the face. I mean, they a really senior heavy group. I'm trying to get in my house here, but they had a real senior heavy group. They were really a really talented group. And we knew it was going to be a very difficult uphill battle. But
Coach Gilley, I think you muted yourself.
Did.
Maybe he'll see that.
Yeah, I saw it come up that he muted. Yeah, right when he sat down.
Coach, we can't hear you. I'm going to text him.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, well, Coach, we apologize for the delay. Coach Gilley, sound went off on him. He just got in, and of course we had him. I will go over. In Alabama, of course, he gets him back on. We had gotten through part of it, but in Alabama, we talked about Houston Academy taking on Mars Hill on Thursday. Then at 3 p.m., we're going to have Maplesville, who's one of the top programs in the state of Alabama. Have been to the finals several times. I think they'll be going for their 4th state championship all time, and they'll take on Wadley. Wadley, very impressive 1A school. This is their first time in the finals, but they're averaging during the playoffs right about 65 points per game. What a program that has been, as they have been explosive. And, of course, the final game in Class 5A at 7 p.m., Moody will make their first ever appearance in the state finals, and they'll be taking on Montgomery Catholic. And so while Randy was away, I kind of went through and covered the rest of Thursday down here in Alabama, talking about Moody and Montgomery Catholic. Was you able to get him back?
Yeah, I was. He's going to relog back in. For some reason, when as soon as he sat down, it kicked him off. So.
Yeah, it did. If you want to, we'll go ahead and go through the rest of this. We had we had Maplesville taking on Wadley. And I was telling about Wadley averaging about 65 points per game in the playoffs. Just an amazing run that they have scored as many points as they had. And, of course, in the 5A finals, Moody takes on Montgomery Catholic. Montgomery Catholic's that school we talked about where no matter what classification you put them in, they're going to be very successful. And, of course, Friday in our final games at 11 a.m., the 4A state title game, Cherokee County will make their third straight finals appearance. They have not won a title since 2009, but this year they get number one ranked the Jackson Aggies from South Alabama. So Cherokee County, maybe the third time's a charm, and they get a state championship this time. At 3 p.m., Class 2A finals, Tuscaloosa Academy, who a couple of weeks ago knocked off Fife, and then they got a rematch with Sulligent earlier, and then they was able to knock off Sulligent to get to the finals, and they'll play Reeltown. Reeltown, remember, was the runner-up to Fife last year as they lost in the finals. This will be their 10th final appearance. They've won 4 state championships. Boy, it's going to be a great matchup in Class 2A. And then at 7 p.m., which will finish up the Super 7 down in Birmingham. In Class 6A, it will be Parker, who's one of the local flavors, will take on one of the top programs. It actually may be the top program in Alabama, Saraland. Saraland lost in the finals last year to Clay Chalkville, a bit of a surprise, but they're back once again. This is a super football program, and it'll be a great matchup with Parker to finish up the night on Friday.
Saraland is quietly became a power in Alabama, playing some of the private schools out of Tennessee, of course, just filling up the colleges too locally.
They have, Mr. Williams come in last year, and went into Alabama and has done a great work for them, and so he's just part of the stockpile down there. Yeah,
Coach Gilley, we got you back again. Let's see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I don't know what happened.
I stepped on the line. It went mute. So
I apologize. I didn't realize that.
It was my fault. But again, you were highlighting the coaches felt that this group, and the 2 losses you had, Oliver Springs, a semifinal team last year, and Sequatchie County, a semifinal team this year. Did those 2 losses make this team grow up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they really, like I said, after that first loss, come that Monday practice, our kids, I walked away from Monday practice feeling like we've got a chance to get things back on track, because you worry about after, when expectations are so high at a place like this, and then you go and get it humiliated like we did. That was an eye-opening experience that some of those kids had never seen. I mean, they'd never been a part of a team that had gotten whipped like that, just physically whipped. And, you didn't know how they were going to respond. You didn't know if they were going to have a belief in themselves that, hey, we can be better than we think we can be, just to get back to where we can compete. Not much less win. We just want to be able to compete and not get humiliated and embarrassed like we did. But they bought in. That Monday's practice went really, really well. And then, we went through a few bumps in the road there, and the first 4 games you're sitting there at 2-2. But we knew when we got beat by Sequatchie, we could have, we had a chance to win that game on the last play. And we had a little play dialed up, and there was some motion involved, and the motion guy intercepted the snap, and that was not supposed to have happened. The timing was off just a hair. I mean, you always want the mesh to seem like, everything to happen simultaneously, but it was too close. And he run in, and it was either the ball was either going to hit him and fall to the turf, and the game was over at that point, or it just happened so quick and it was on him. He caught it, and he just did, the only thing he thought he could do was just try to run it. But the ball was not intended for the guy that actually caught the ball. And if you review the film, you never know. It's hypothetical, but if you review the film, if the ball had gotten to the quarterback, he takes off to the right with 2 or 3 lead blockers, and there was 2 gaps that there was potential room for him to be able to get in and score. And had he got in and scored, we win the game. So, but we lost, and Sequatchie, I used to coach there with Rusty, and man, what a phenomenal job. I want to take a second here and just very proud of those kids. Those kids are seniors. I coached them when they were freshmen. And so I built a relationship with those kids, and a lot of them I still talk to. And just couldn't be more happy for those guys. I mean, what an unbelievable year. Just so proud of that group. And Rusty's done a phenomenal job. He's a great coach. He's a great guy. He's great for that community. And I couldn't be happier for that Sequatchie group. But when we had a chance to beat them there, and they won, and then they ended up going on and beating Marion. And when they did that, we kind of thought maybe we got a chance to be a little better than maybe we realized. When you're going down to the wire with Sequatchie, who nobody knew at the time. We knew they was going to be a seasoned team. They were senior heavy, and you knew they had a chance to have a really good year. And as it turned out, we all see now they had a phenomenal year, a record-breaking year. Just anybody that comes up against Alcoa, it's just, unfortunately, it is what it is. But great year for those guys, and super proud of those kids that I coached. And the center on that Sequatchie team, Kane, is actually Kevin, as y'all know, my son. That's actually his best friend. And so Kane always come up and supported Kevin last year when, once we were still playing and once they were done. And Kevin, went several games this year and supported those guys. And he would come to some of our games and support me and some of the old teammates here. But, he did go to a few games down there as well to support Kane. And so, we're happy for those guys down that way. But our group, they grew up. Those first 4 weeks, they grew up. We were sitting there at 2-2, and once Sequatchie beat Marion, we knew, because we knew they were going to be one of the top teams in the state in 2A. They just got a phenomenal group of talent over there right now, and we knew when we was right there last play with Sequatchie, and then Sequatchie turns around and kicks a field goal and beats Marion at their place. We felt a lot better about the squad we had. It just had taken us a while to kind of get those young kids to grow up a little bit. But they grew up, and man, I'll just be honest, they've way out exceeded any expectations that we ever had. Because the fact of the matter is, I mean, we still are young. I mean, yeah, they're kind of seasoned veterans now, but we're starting a freshman middle linebacker and 3 sophomore linebackers. A freshman and 3 sophomores. You heard me right. We've got 2 sophomore corners. We've got a junior safety. The only senior on our defense is at safety. We got 1 senior on our defense, and he plays safety. We got a junior, the Buckner kid that plays alongside Cooper, the senior. Vaughn, the oldest brother of the 2 twins. And then we've got 3 juniors that start on our defensive line. We're primarily an odd front team. I mean, we morph into 5 or 6. We can put as many down there as we need to, but we're primarily a 3-4 quarters cover 2 team, whatever you want to say. But so our 3 primary defensive linemen are juniors. So we got what is that? 4 juniors, a senior, and 5 sophomores and a freshman, somewhere right in there. So our underclassmen are obviously, they're very talented, to be able to get us to where we're at. But just blessed. I mean, South Pittsburgh's always going to, have a quality team, but quality compared to what, 15-0, or possibly getting beat in the second, third round, fourth round. But still being a great year for most teams.
Yeah.
The expectations at South Pittsburgh, obviously, like some other teams across the state, is maybe a little out of hand for some, but if you're not making it to this game, then it's a little bit of a disappointing season for the Pirates.
Go ahead.
Coach, I know you talked about this team. Of course, I'm sure there's a point in where you felt like the light came on for this team. And like you said, the confidence builder was probably that Sequatchie County game. Had you got squashed that night, things might have totally went different. But, in this program, the kids come to play at South Pittsburg. They expect to win. They sit behind people and knew how to do things the right way. It was a matter of just kind of growing up and come together. And I'm wondering, and I think this is why South Pittsburg is so successful. Not only do you have kids come because they want to win, but y'all take a lot of time, and it seems like fine-tuned and real detailed for these kids. You put them in a position where they can win, and y'all spend a lot of time fine-tuning these kids.
Well, we're very fortunate here. Randall knows my situation. Maybe you do. I actually left at the end of last year, and thought I was moving to Georgia for a promotion and more money and all this and that. And it didn't work. Long story short, it didn't work out. And I was just blessed that it just took a phone call, to Coach Stone, who, as y'all know, has become one of my best friends over the 3 years I've been here, and just a great guy. And we're, he's like a brother to me. I texted him one day and I said, Coach, some things have happened down here that's kind of out of my hands, and I'm not sure this is going to work. I may need a job. And his response was, I could show you the text. Come on back. He never wanted me to leave to start with. So it's always nice to be wanted and to have a place to call home. But Wes has got some really, really good coaches. I'm blessed to be down here with these guys. He's got Coach Peak, who's our primary defensive coordinator, been a head coach. He's got Coach Evans, who's our head softball coach, been a head coach. Coach Moore, everybody knows Coach Moore. He's been coaching for 30, 40 years. Just seasoned guys, been around been around high-level programs and high-level guys and knowledge. And, we've just got an abundance of knowledge, from a variety of different backgrounds and programs that's collectively on this one little small high school football team. And granted, we do have great players. Everybody knows that, but you got to get them lined up, and you got to simplify things to where they can play fast. And I think that with the staff that we've got, I think we've got it, about as good as you could have it, because we've got coaches at every position, and a lot of schools don't have that. They don't have the help. And if you do have the help, you may not have the knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
But at every level, we've got seasoned guys that's been coaching for a long time. And that's one thing, that's one thing you would assume at a program like South Pittsburg. You're going to have some coaching depth. And we feed off each other, and we work really well together. It's a very favorable situation for all of us, really.
Yeah, that means the kids flourish from that too. Because they're well ahead of the game. Like you say, when you've got as many good assistants as you have, they're prepared before they ever hit the field. It's just a matter of them coming together, and that happened. Well, Coach, your ultimate goal, we'll get into this, what's going on. So your ultimate goal, I think, is to be a head coach one of these days, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the goal. After we won a state title last year, I applied, and it's not a secret. My staff knows. That's my goal. And Wes, he's well aware, and he's helped me. He's put emails and sent very nice letters, and what you would expect, a mentor to do, and a great friend to try to help you. And he don't want me to leave, but at the same time, he had that same goal and that same vision of being a head coach too. So he put his time in, and I kind of got into teaching later in life. I've coached for years. But the path that I've taken, obviously, kind of set me back on being able to get to be a head coach at a younger age. And I may be fighting a little bit of that battle. I think people sometimes look at your age and they're like, why have you, it makes you wonder if they think, why have you never been a head coach? If you're almost 50 and this will be your first head coaching job, why, everybody's got a different story. Everybody's got different circumstances. And, so that's kind of the situation that I fell in. I haven't always been a teacher. I've coached for years on many, between Tennessee and Georgia, 6 or 8 different programs. But I've only been teaching for 4 years, as far as being in the building every day with the kids. And that was always the goal. But, through life circumstances and divorce and different things, it just, my path was, I played the long game, I guess. And, it took me a while, but finally got in the building and I've loved every minute of it. I mean, to be honest.
Well, you're fighting that stereotype, Coach. And, and I know one job you applied for in Heath Kirby at Sylvania, we were talking about that. And I said, well, how did you do interview wise? He said, feel great. He said, the only thing that goes against him is classroom time. He said, and that's that stereotype he has to battle. And Heath was honest about it, but he said, otherwise, Coach Gilley's a great coach. And, and I was very impressed with his knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I'm encouraged to know that he thought it went well. I felt like it went well. I honestly left there that day feeling like that door was going to open and had it then I would have been grateful for that opportunity, but it didn't. And, I don't sit and stress over and dwell over things that I can't change. I just have to look at it and say, that wasn't what the Lord wanted for my life. And maybe, he's got a better plan for me. And I didn't lose a lot of sleep over it. I just knew that there was a great setup for whoever got that job because that other fella had done such a phenomenal job and they had such an abundance of talent coming back. And as we see now, I hadn't really kept up with them, but I know they won a lot more games than they lost. So, kudos to that fellow that got it and that program. But, I think I interviewed I call it the gold ball effect. And I don't know, it's kind of jokingly, but I don't know if it has anything to do with that. I can only assume it did. But prior to winning a state title and being on a staff that won a state title, I think I'd had one head coaching job in all the years that I've applied prior to winning the state title. And last year alone, after winning the state title, I applied for several, but I actually got interviewed on 7. I actually made the panel on 7 different head coaching jobs. And I actually finished, from what I've been told and how it shook out, I finished second on at least 2 of them and possibly 3 of them. So, I feel like maybe I'm getting closer. But at the end of the day, I can't, that's not something I can control. I mean, that's my goal. That's my desire. It's always been the goal. You always want to go out and see if you can, build a program, even if it's not maybe a very good team or whatever, can you build something to where it's, way better than it was maybe when you took it over? Or if you get a good program, how much can you advance it? It's, football coaches, we're prideful guys, everybody thinks that their way's the best and that they know this and they know that. And, I'm probably no different, but, I would like to have the opportunity someday, if God were to ever see fit, to open that door, for a chance to run my own program. And, but what I know more than anything, and if I ever am able to run a program, it ain't about me. It's about the guys that I can surround myself with. Because if Wes was on this call with you, he would tell you, although he's a phenomenal coach, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's one of the best offensive coordinators I've ever seen, because he'll out-scheme you to death. I mean, he'll drive a defensive coordinator nuts.
Absolutely.
And but he would tell you that, he couldn't do what he's doing without all the guys that he's got surrounding him. And I know that. And I want to surround myself with guys that know more than me. because I figure at my age, if I do get a shot, it might be the only shot. And so I want to bring the best staff that I possibly could bring, to help me succeed. Right. That's the ultimate goal. So, I've got friends in the business, from different states and different things. And if I ever get a head coaching job and there's availability, that's the other part of it. It ain't like you can just bring anybody you want. You might have 2 or 3 spots at most high schools that they say, well, you can probably bring 2 or 3. That seemed to be the common theme that I would get during these interviews last year. It was always a question. Well, can I bring folks, or is this just going to be something I'm just going to have to do on my own? Because those are important things that you need to evaluate, right? When you're, it's a huge burden, and if you ain't got knowledgeable guys to love you and encourage you and support you, how much do you really want to do it? How hard of a job is it going to be? So I'm at the age now where I'm not just going to take any job. It's going to have to be, the Lord's going to have to, send some signs, and it may just be that my expectations are too far out there for that to ever happen. And if that's the case, so be it. But, I am confident in being able to help a program succeed. But I know I can't do it on my own. And so, if the availability is there to bring some partners in, bring some guys in that I know in the business, that I trust, that I know's good coaches, that I know's quality people, to be around the kids and help that program succeed, then I would probably jump all over it, but it's going to have to be the right situation.
Hey, Phil, before you move ahead, I am a good friends with Coach Gilley, and last year going through this process, and he said it, I just want to emphasize, there was times that you and I would text, and you would say, X program reached out to me and you would just use me as a resource to ask me about the program. And I remember one time there was a school reached out to Coach Gilley, and I had nothing but good to say about him, but it's kind of like Coach Gilley answered back to me. He didn't feel right to him. So your family and the Lord's a big part of that surge too, Coach.
Yeah, I don't, I historically, when I've made decisions without wise counsel and family input, it's historically not been good. So I just have had to learn the hard way, I guess. Maybe I'm a little stubborn, but yeah, no, I just think it's wise to to pray about things and to seek wise counsel, and and obviously your family. Man, if your family ain't supportive of it, you can forget it. You're going to be fighting. You're probably not going to succeed, and then you're not going to have nobody to support you at the end of the day. So, yeah, if the family's not involved, it's a little easier for me. I'm single, currently single. I'm unfortunately divorced, but, I do have kids, and, obviously I love my kids, and y'all know that. And, my kids are, they're my biggest fans. So if I were to ever get something, they come down here and support us, and they love what we do here at South Pittsburg. And, but they know the ultimate goal is for Dad. He wants to have a shot, at running his own program. So they will be there to support me. There's no question. My dad's alive. My mom's passed on. That would be a really nice, I'd really like to see my dad see me get a head coaching job before something happened to him. That would be, that'd be really special. But, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But, yeah, my family, they're going to be supportive of whatever I do. Of course, that if it was up to them, that I'd probably just stay at South Pittsburg forever because they like winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, I want to ask you this, Coach. Okay, we'll talk a little more about the team. But one thing I wanted, last year, when Kevin come to South Pittsburg to play for you, the season was busy, but you end up ultimately winning a state championship. That had to be special because not only did you win it as a coach, but you got to win it as a parent, and that's special.
Oh man, it's an unbelievable feeling as a parent. you know, and then for your kid to have a a play, you know, honestly, he didn't have a great game overall, but that one play in itself was like just unbelievable. I mean, we just seal the deal, you know, win the game, and he's the hero of the moment. And when you look out there, you're like, what just happened? And everybody's like, that's your boy. And I was tearing, you know, it was crazy, but just good memories. I got this. I'll show y'all this. I don't know if y'all can see it real good. I got this collage that I put together I made me one and I made him one. I don't know. Can y'all make out any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is me and him. He, after the interception, he's balling. I'm balling. You know, this is after he, you know, jumped up, you know, after the interception. And that's another picture of where he jumped up. And the Times Free Press caught that picture and had it on the front page of the paper. And just special memories. Here's another little memorabilia that I'll cherish forever. Of course, these are things that the parents and the coaches and the players can order if they want to order it from the different companies. But this one here that Stephen Hargis did, this is Kevin here down here on the bottom. I don't know if y'all can see that, but anyway, I'm a big history guy and a lot of memories. I cherish the memories. It's special, man. It's special. We still talk about it to this day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know how that is. I mean, I won a state championship my senior year, and I've got all kind of clippings and pictures and things, and I'll share them with, people that I went to school with, and some teammates that hadn't seen a lot of those things, and it's special, and it'll be special 20 years from now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I tried to talk him into moving down here, of course I left it up to him, but I kept telling him, I'm like, son, we got a special bunch. There's a chance. I mean, you never know. I mean, you get a couple kids hurt, and a couple plays don't go your way. I mean, you never know if you can go 15-0. I mean, that's just an unbelievable feat. But I just kept telling him, man, you got a chance to be on a really special team and to have a chance to win a state championship with, your father, a coach, and, you being a player. And I guess just the more that he thought about it, I didn't pressure him a lot because I forced my kids to move when I took the Sequatchie job, and it was a struggle, man. Every morning on the way to school, they was hating life. And I just said I wasn't going to do that to my kids anymore. And so I let Kevin stay, and that says a lot about what I think about the program at Sequatchie County and Coach McIntyre. I mean, that in itself, if that don't say, I think the guy's a phenomenal coach. I would have never let my kid play for somebody that I didn't believe in and somebody that I didn't think, loved them and ran good stuff and ran a good program. So, hopefully that speaks volumes that, and he was probably a little bitter. I mean, I've talked to Rusty since then and he understood, but, Kevin weighed in heavily in their plans, going into his senior year, and that kind of hurt him a little bit. And, they I'm sure there for a minute, they were pretty frustrated, but, I mean, at the end of the day, would he want his son to come and play for him if he had the chance? Well, I mean, obviously we all know the answer to that, so, it all worked out, and we've got those memories for the rest of our life, and it's pretty special.
I just changed jobs, as many people know. And before I feel for the last year, I've had the privilege of working with Kevin and knowing Caden and what great kids they are and what great young men. And hey, I don't keep a lot of memorability of my 34 years and calling games, but one of them I do have, Coach, is a picture of me and Kevin after the Sequatchie game when I was the play-by-play game, him and his girlfriend, Faith Ann, and me. And so I have one of my special treasures is from that year with Kevin.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that photo, seeing that photo. That's a really nice thing. And, Yeah, that was some great memories of our time there at Sequatchie for sure. And he made a lot of good friends. And like I say, I mean, his best friend is Kane, the center at Sequatchie. And we love him. We love his family. Even though I haven't been there in 3 or 4 years, I mean, a lot of them people, they love me and we're still very close. And I talk to them. And, Austin McCurry was our tailback when I was there. Well, he's coaching there now. And I thought, Austin we still talk all the time. I mean, not all the time, but, he'll text or I'll text. And, the fact that he's coaching, I won't do it because of, I wouldn't want to embarrass him. But when he started getting into, when he thought about, he was at a crossroads and he was going to take a job, or he wasn't sure if he wanted to go to college, if he wanted to, maybe teach and coach, or if he just wanted to kind of go ahead and do, I think maybe it was electrical work. I can't remember exactly what trade he was going to do, but he texted me and he was just picking my brain about coaching, and I could go back and show you the text. And then the next thing I heard a few months later, he's decided that he wanted to get into coaching. And I just told him that, that it was the best thing that I've ever done, being able to influence young people. Just make sure that you're getting into it for the right reasons. You're not getting into it just for the football side of it, because the football side of it is just a short part of it. You've got people's lives at stake. I mean, you're going to be dealing with all kind of situations that you ain't prepared for. You're going to hear stories. These things are going to be laid on, on your plate. And you're not going to know how to deal with all this stuff from time to time. And so I just kind of shared some of that with him, and give him some things to think about and pray about. And the fact that he's coaching now, I have a lot of pride in that, because I coached him, obviously, and I care for him. But he's just one of those guys that you can tell he's going to be a student of the game. And I'm sure he's a huge asset to those guys there. And, I don't know, he may stay there forever, or he may venture out and try to work with some other people. That was probably how I grew the most. It may not look the best that I was here, and here, but I tell you what it did do. It taught me a lot about what not to do. And, and then I held on, and we'll continue to hold on to those things that I know that were good things, that, that were successful, and that worked. But there's a lot of things that you can throw out, over the course of those moves, and working with different people and different ideologies and different philosophies. And then you just kind of settle into your own, what is your identity? What do you like to do? And so, finding a home here at South Pittsburg, it was the best of both worlds, because when Wes hires you, he hires you to do a job. He's not going to overcoach you. I mean, he don't, matter of fact, he's like, he tells, when I was with Coach Britton last year, and kind of Coach Britton's right-hand man on defense. And then the same for this year. I'm Coach Pete's kind of right-hand man. And we do all the breakdowns and stuff. And I, send him the stuff that I feel like is going to work. And, some of it he may like, some of it he may not. I mean, he's been coaching for, longer than I've been born. So, he's got his own ideas, but it's been a blessing to be able to work with those two guys hand in hand, that as close as we do, because Wes is just like, man, I don't care what y'all do. Y'all know your stuff. Y'all just do what y'all do. And I'll worry about this side and y'all worry about that. And, so, and I like the fact that I've been able to kind of do my stuff, and then to see it play out on the field, at a high level. I mean, we had the state's overall statistical defense last year in all classifications. In 15 games, we gave up 68 points, which was 4.5 points a game. Well, the next closest team that was anywhere even close to that over 15 games was Oakland, and they were like 10.6 points a game, so a full touchdown. So, it's just that kind of stuff. Analytics don't mean a lot to a lot of people, but when you're the a builder of something like that, and you see it play out on the field, and you take a lot of pride in that, and I do take a lot of pride in that, and I'm very grateful to be in a situation where I can have so much say even though I'm not the head coach and, I'm not even the primary, defensive coordinator or play caller. But, they do feed off me a lot. And Coach, what do you think? What would you do here? What do you do in this situation? And of course, I've got all the breakdowns in the box. So, if we get in a situation or a certain formation, I'm the one that's saying, hey, this is what we need to do. And, both of the guys that I've had an opportunity to work with over the years here at South Pitt, I mean, they're whatever I'm saying, they're good with, because they know I've done my homework and, that I'm well prepared. So it's been a blessing. I feel like part of the reason that this year is so special is because I've heard of Coach Pete my whole life. You're into football. If you're into football in this area, this North Georgia, North Alabama, East Tennessee area, you've heard of Coach Pete, and the guy's a legend, and he's been coaching for years. And I often wonder if the way things didn't work out for me in Georgia if the plan was to bring me back to be able to work with a man like that, to learn from him and his experiences. And man, I'm just forever grateful for it, because he's a jewel. The way he handles kids, the way he handles the game situations, just a phenomenal Christian man. I mean, there's not a better example of how you're supposed to do things than that guy, I can assure you. But I've had the opportunity to be with some very dynamic and great leaders. I mean, as far as Christian men, Mark Mariakis, I coached with him for 2 years at Ridgeland. I've had the opportunity to be around really good people and learn a lot. And, so I've just been blessed, man. I've been blessed, finally won a state title last year, playing for another one. I can't even believe I'm saying that with this young group. I mean, it's we have to sit back and we're like, man, we are playing for a state title this week, with this group of kids. I mean, it's just unbelievable, because I can't even we're so young. I mean, we're so young, and that's probably scary for a lot of other folks, and it probably should be, because barring accident, injury, transfer, those guys ain't gonna do nothing but get bigger and stronger and faster. So it's a special time to be a Pirate. This next 3-4 year run is everybody knows who South Pittsburg is, but I don't know that they've quite seen a 4 or 5 year stretch like we have the potential right now.
Coach, I'll ask you a 2-part question, and I'll turn it over to Randy. Of course, I think a lot of times, I know a lot of football coaches, and a lot of times, and I'm in that situation too. If I was coaching, I had the opportunity and probably could have, but I chose to do radio. I liked it better. But, a lot of times we're overgrown kids, we get just as fired up and as emotional as they do. Going on that field in Chattanooga, how does that feel? Do you feel like kind of for a moment you are one of the kids? And number 2, what are we going to see out of Mase?
Man, walking on that field last year, like you said earlier, I mean, there was a 2-part deal. It's almost like, as a coach, this is what you do it for, right? I mean, this is the ultimate goal. And you're sitting there and you're looking around and you're like, man, I've made it. Like, man, I can't believe that I'm coaching in this game. It was just it was unbelievable. And then I look over at my son, and I'm an emotional guy, and it was overwhelming. Just overwhelming to just the thoughts coming back to me right now, just thinking about it, just how special that was. Just a lifetime of memories, and yeah, it was just super special being there. Mase, probably the best single A team that I've ever seen. They are Chattanooga Prep on steroids. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I mean, their identity is very similar to Prep. There are a lot of 2x2, 10 personnel, 3x1, empty, I think they've got some NFL coaches, much like Prep, because their ideology and their offensive philosophy it looks almost exactly the same. They just have got better guys for the most part. Now, Chat Prep's got some unbelievable dudes. I don't want to discredit those guys. I mean, they're super talented. But Mase has just got more collectively. And I think Mase's offensive line is probably bigger. And Mase's defensive line is by far way better. If we can move the ball on them, we've got a chance. It's going to be very difficult to move the ball between the tackles. If we move the ball, it's probably going to be on the perimeter or off tackle. It's an uphill battle. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, it's an uphill battle, but you know what? We've been the underdog all year long, and I'm not going to doubt our kids one bit because they show up every day to work, and they're grinders, and they've grown up a lot, and we got a shot. We got to have the ball bounce our way a couple times. We've got to be able to make them drive long drives. The 1, 2, and 3 play drives is not going to cut it. We're not going to be able to score quick enough, probably to match that if that happens 2 or 3, 4 times. So if we can make them drive the ball and play the long game, maybe get some interceptions, some fumbles, give us possibly some short fields, we've got a shot. But, I don't know that Mase, as good as they are, out of all the films I've seen, they haven't really played a team that runs the personnel packages and runs the ball efficiently as we do. Now, can we move the ball on them? I don't know. I hope we can. I think we got a great scheme to try to do, to try to give us the most success that we can get. They're as good looking of a single A high school football team as you're ever going to see. They're big. I mean, they don't look like a single A high school football team. So,
Phil, you got anything to follow up?
No, go ahead. You ready?
Coach, I just got one question, and it's about I've been able to watch about that much of Mase and McKenzie. They were able to do things defensively with McKenzie that maybe no other single A team has ever done to McKenzie since you all did it to them in the state championship last year. Will you be able, and I'm not asking for game plan, but is there some things that maybe you can exploit, different looks than they expect to see from you?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, we've put in several, we've got several different alignment packages, skill on skill, personnel favorable alignments and things of that nature that give us the best chance to slow what they're trying to do down. I mean, they're not secretive. I mean, it's much like Chat Prep, and I don't want this to be taken out of context. They're not a very complicated. They don't run a very complicated offense. They just put their dudes where they put them, and usually they're just better than you. Now, as y'all know from if you've watched any of our games, we like mixing things up. We like bringing pressures. We like to be able to, we have a really good knack of being able to create free hitters and people running wide wide open the middle on the quarterback, and putting him on the run. We've been very successful for that. And that's all strategic stuff that, takes a lot of time, to find the leverage and the angles. And that's something I pride myself on is, if we can get free hitters and we can put people on the run, and send them on the run in the direction that we want them to go, as opposed to the direction they want to go, then that's a win for us, right? I mean, we're going to probably win that play. And so, we've got some things that I think we can hit home on. But they've got a really special, unique little quarterback. I don't know the the specifics on him. Some people say he's a transfer kid from Mississippi. I don't know the details on him. I just know this: if you watch the game, he can flat sling it, and he's athletic enough that he can escape. He don't want to run, but he's very, very capable of running. But he can throw it now. He's got a cannon on him, and he's got some 6'1", 6'2" dudes that can stretch the field. And they're long and lanky, and they can go up and get it. I mean, they're not your usual division. They're not your usual single A high school receivers. Okay, these kids look like they play on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've got some things. We're going to try to slow them down. I mean, obviously, we're going to try to do our best, but we're going to mix coverages. We're going to do some different things that give kind of favorable alignment for us. So yeah, I mean, we're hoping to mix it up some and keep them guessing a little bit.
Well, Coach, no more about the game. Just on a personal note, I feel and I both have got to know you over the years, but you and I have a personal relationship that runs through your kids, through my kids, and you're always the first one that likes a picture of my daughter or compliments her or talks about her playing football. And I just want to thank you for your friendship over the years. And no one has been a better friend to RiverCity-Media than you have been, Coach Gilley, and your family. And, when I left Manhummel, one of the biggest regrets was living Calvin, because I sure did enjoy talking ball with him. But and your other son, Caden, and your I'm sorry, I don't know your littlest son's name.
Creed.
Creed, yeah. I was wanting to call him Loudon for some reason.
Yeah, no, Creed, man, he's a unique little dude. He kind of came in the picture later in life, and man, he's a unique guy. He's a unique little kid, and super smart, and he'll keep you laughing, man. You'd think you're talking to a 75-year-old man. I mean, he's an old soul.
He sat below me when I was calling the Hickson Chat Prep game, and I swear I couldn't help. There was times I quit calling the game, and I listened to Creed's comments running below me, and then I just looked, and I just thought, Kevin and Caden might have been your athletes. You might have a radio guy in Creed someday.
Yeah, he might be a politician, or I don't know, a mayor or something. I don't know, because he's a smoozer, and all the ladies like him. And man, he'll get up and do karaoke at the Mexican restaurant, and all the people in there is clapping for him. And he'll get up there and say, "Man, I'm gonna bring the house down," and everybody loves him. I mean, he's quite the comic. But no, man, the Lord's been good to me. My kids are healthy and happy, and man, just very blessed, and I'm very grateful, that God gave me my kids, and that they're healthy and good.
Can't leave you,
Coach,
beautiful.
One of these days, I'd like to see, maybe you'll get that opportunity to coach here. Maybe it'll fall through and fall in, and you get a chance to coach down here in Alabama, and and get to talk to you a little bit. But I hope that happens for you. And of course, I want to wish you luck Friday, or whenever the state championship game is, because you guys have done a well of a job. I've kept up with South Pittsburg for years. I grew up in Chattanooga, so they're kind of a special place. So I want to wish you the best.
Hey guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate, Randall, you reaching out and having me on your platform, and it's an honor for me to be here. And we're gonna load that bus Friday, and we're gonna grab some lunch over in Lookout Valley, and then we're gonna go down there and we're gonna strap it up. And we're gonna see what we can do. We'll know by 6 o'clock if the Pirates are bringing the gold or the silver back to Pittsburg.
Best parade in high school footballs in South Pittsburg on a gold ball Friday night.
Oh man, I've never seen anything like it. Now, if you ain't ever been a part of it, you need to follow the bus back. It's a special deal, man. They walk through town, and everybody's lining the roads, and there's a big party on the football field, fireworks, fire trucks. I mean, it's a unique experience.
Well, I was working during the last game, so I watched on the little NFS deal. And as soon as I left work, I didn't head back to Chattanooga. I headed to South Pittsburg because I wanted to be part of that at least. So,
yes. If they're not aware of that, if the Pirates win a state title, follow them back to Pittsburg.
Yeah,
because it's a party. It's a nice little deal. The community turns out. I bet there's nobody at home. They're all lining the streets, high-fiving the kids, yelling at them, telling them they love them. They're playing music. They got fireworks going. They go all out now. They take it serious.
Phil, you got anything to follow up?
No, like I said, I just wish you the best, Coach, and thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Yes, sir. Hey, you guys, thank y'all, and God bless you, and go Pirates.
We all going to be Pirates Friday night, Coach, so we're with you.
All right, brother. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Right.
Phil, it's always great to have Coach Gilley, and I think we got Alabama covered up, but I did have one thing I wanted to ask you. Who, if we're looking, who from the region's got a chance to maybe bring home? I think it's a blue ball in Alabama or gold, Tennessee silver. Anybody?
The blue map. You got a blue map and a red map.
Blue map, red map. Anybody got a chance in the QSB listening area?
Well, the only real team that we've got left, what you call being our listener area, will be Cherokee County, and they play in the 4A championship game at 11 a.m., and that'll be on Friday. And of course, they get number one, the Jackson Aggies. It's going to be a tough task for Cherokee County, but they've lost in the finals the last 2 years. They lost to Demopolis 2 years ago. They lost to Montgomery Catholic last year. But this could be the team that may break through the ice. I think they were very disappointed in their showing last year. So this is one of those teams that I think was on a mission to get back once again to prove that they were better than what they played last year. So I think they've got a shot.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Bowden team. And I think in Georgia they're in the semifinals, but Bowden.
Oh yeah,
Bowden is still alive in the North Georgia area and into the semifinals.
Yeah, very impressive. They've won 3 playoff games so far. I listened to a little bit of their game last week. I can't remember what school that was they were playing, but played very well. They have been very impressive in the first 3 rounds, and they're the only real team around here. And here lately, Bowden's had a great football program and have made deep runs into the playoffs. But now they've got a golden opportunity to get to the finals.
Phil, and we'll wrap it up tonight. Thank you for delaying the show. We've had big numbers, and appreciate Coach Gilley getting on with us. But we took this ride since about late July when we started having coaches on. And, you and I, we have regular jobs, and sometimes we get overwhelmed. But these coaches, since the same time period that play this week, they've spent the last 6 months, 5 months getting here.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's a special time of the year. I mean, anytime you're playing football this time, it's special. But, it's about these kids too. Coaches get wrapped up in it. And this time of the year, like I was saying to Coach Gilley, they get to be kids too because they're playing on house money because they've spent all these weeks getting to play. And there's no guarantee they're going to get to the second round, third round finals. So they get to really enjoy it just like the kids do. And it's special for them. It's just as special for these coaches as it is for the players. So, yeah, it's great to see because we're going to transition into basketball. Maybe we can get some few basketball coaches on coming up and, hopefully in the future get some players on too because basketball is busy. But I think more or less the coaches can kind of get away from the basketball court for a few minutes and do some interviews because the season's so long and one game don't make the season. So it's a lot easier for them to kind of break away.
And we're still trying to get someone from Marion County. Coach Starkey just overran with media requests, and just my relationship with Coach Gilley was able to get him. So we may shock everybody and be back for a second episode this week with Marion County. If not, we will have Marion County next week. But that pretty much wraps up our football, and I'm looking forward. There's several new coaches that I'd like to bring on at some point during the year. And, I love football, but high school basketball is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, to me, coaches in basketball are great characters. They have a lot of stories to share. I think football coaches sometimes will take things a little bit more serious, where basketball coaches, they put a lot of charisma and a lot of enthusiasm, and they're very creative. So, they're a lot of fun to interview.
They sure are, and a lot of fun. We'll have a bunch of big time, and of course, this back to Gadsden State and Northeast Alabama for some softball coverage, and I see a lot from Coach Guthrie and Coach King, and we'll be back that way. But we're going to take that high school basketball ride starting next week, hopefully.
Yeah, I've talked to Coach Guthrie. We're going to try to get him on, sometime here close, because softball season is finally over. So he's got a little bit of a break. He may be able to spend a little more time with us without being distracted. But we want to get him on because talk about some of the kids, because now that he knows some of the kids, we can talk about a lot of them rather than just the program in itself.
True.
Yeah.
Good to talk to Coach Gilley. Thank you for joining everybody. We're a little bit late, but we've been on a long ride. It's been about 22 weeks for us. So thank you for listening. Follow us. We don't say it all the time. Please go and follow us if you like the show. Phil Harris, Randall Cunningham, you're beyond the booth. And of course, thanks to Coach Gilley, Rickey Gilley, for his time. And I hope they get it, Phil. I hope they get it right.
Yeah, be nice to see them lift that trophy. That would be nice, because this is one last year maybe expected, this year unexpected.
And of course, we haven't talked about it as much, just because we had Coach Gilley. One community's got a chance to lift 2 trophies. South Pittsburg, Marion, Jasper, just separated by 2 miles as a chance to do something really special.
Yeah, and then, of course, we got 2 more area teams, that being Baylor and McCallie, playing up against each other. So, maybe it'll be a great night in Chattanooga. It's great to see our local teams get to Chattanooga, being that, the championships are there. But, good luck to the Marion County Warriors. They fell a little short last year, but this year may be their year.
And Baylor and McCallie packed Finley out last year, and let's do that again.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see, because we'd like to keep this state championship in Chattanooga, because, it's good for all of us here in the local area.
Good for business, good for RiverCity-Media. For Phil Harris, Randall Cunningham, good night. God bless. Go out and watch some football this weekend. In Alabama, it's at Progressive. Am I saying that right?
Protective Stadium.
I've always want to give it to Progressive Insurance. Protective Stadium, and of course, here in Tennessee, Finley Stadium, the home of the Mocs. Get out and watch football this weekend.
Yeah.